No, I just feel like this is just one big giant slap in the fucking face. If you think my intention was to hurt you, you obviously don't know me as well as I thought you did.
You're listening to the Unframe of Mind show, the place to have the most mind-stretching, unprotected, intellectual intercourse of your life. Your host.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to run an intro or something, or tell people what it's about?
Let's do it to it.
You're listening to the Unframe of Mind show, the place to have the most.
Are you sure?
Let's do it to it.
You're listening to the Unframe of Mind show, the place to have the most mind-stretching, unprotected, intellectual intercourse of your life. Your host.
Fucker, let's do it to it.
You're listening to the Unframe of Mind show, the place to have the most mind-stretching, unprotected, intellectual intercourse.
All right, you get the point.
Yeah.
Anyway, so welcome back to another episode of the Unframe of Mind show, where we have uncomfortable conversations without a condom, where I'm your host, Daniel Wagner.
Anthony Treyway.
And we're having fun with the buttons. That's what we do.
Like a little child. Gotta press buttons.
So there was an issue that has arisen in your life. May or may not have something to do with your absence in recent shows.
Well, I wouldn't say it was a driving force. So I'm not going to get into what happened there. But this was a situation that kind of really bothered me on so many different levels.
Right.
And you know, I wanted to discuss this because there's major implications that have taken place that should never even gone this far.
Right.
And I felt like, you know, what I thought what I was doing was the right thing, which I know it is. Turns out a friendship of more than, well, close to 30 years has now been dissolved because of this, because of somebody else's actions.
Right.
And over the last week, you know, I've had more time to kind of sit back and, you know, the old saying is, you know, cooler heads seem to prevail in conversation. So I wanted to actually talk to you about this. And part of what we do on this show is we talk about relationships. It doesn't matter what that looks like, whether it's marriage or, you know, people we dating or just friendships. And this has been bothering me as the days move on. It's not controlling my life. It's not doing it doesn't affect me like personally. It's just, I'm trying to understand how I arrived at such a place because of one individual's actions that has now affected so many.
We'll get into the actual details of the story here in a moment, but just kind of based on what you've told me, it kind of seems like it'd be a good lesson for others in, you know, the results of having principles and sticking to them and trying to do the right thing and the fallout that can happen from that, and also how being honest and you know, trying to actually do the right thing has a tendency to shine a light on individuals that you maybe at first thought were, you know, trustworthy individuals, or I don't know exactly what how to word it just yet. Maybe I'll figure that out as we go forward. But I just before we get the audience too entirely lost in what's going on and the implications of it, I want to give you a chance to actually tell the story itself.
So
and then we can kind of start dissecting it after that.
I'm going to summarize it because I think once I get into all the people that are involved, it's going to turn into something that's just too complicated to follow.
Yeah.
So the gist of it is that somebody that I know has done some inappropriate things towards other women. This individual is married.
Yeah. Should
not be sending texts or things through via social media. You know, to me, in my opinion, is inappropriate because he's doing it while his wife is in bed. You know, she's asleep. And it just, he has an alcohol problem, in my opinion, because it seems like the times that he's done these things has been alcohol related.
Yeah. While under the influence.
Right. While under the influence. And
I wonder if people should start getting charged with TUIs, texting under the influence. Maybe that's a thing that we need to save our society.
Yeah, I know, right? But, you know, there was a situation that happened last summer, okay, where he inappropriately had touched someone that I know. And we addressed it. We went to that individual and we said, look, your behavior was not appropriate.
Yeah.
It was handled. You know, we assumed that this was an isolated situation because he had been drinking.
Yeah.
And we, you know, me and this other person spoke to this individual that was touching someone inappropriately, said, look, what you're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
So when we had this discussion, we did not tell his wife. We didn't feel the need to do that because we handled it. We moved on from it. And we didn't want to further complicate their marriage because we just thought this was a one-off situation. So we kept it under wraps. We dealt with it. As time had progressed, this individual that has the drinking problem, in my opinion, that's been texting random women at all hours of the night, reached out to...
We'll call him the drunk diddler.
Okay.
It wasn't diddling.
No.
More of a smack or a grab or...
No, just... We'll call him the drunk one. So...
The drunk one. All right.
He reached out to a female friend of mine. This was obviously a couple months later. Was talking inappropriate. I told her, I said, just ignore it. He's probably drinking. And she said, okay. That was the end of that.
So this is incident number 2.
This is incident number 2.
Yeah.
So the same woman that he inappropriately touched the summer before, once again reached out to her, making inappropriate comments. Now, I'm not going to discuss things that were said, just that they were inappropriate. Then it was brought to his wife's attention of what was going on. She was then aware of what he was doing while intoxicated.
Right.
Okay. So that was situation number 2 or number 3 at this point, right?
So we're establishing a pattern of behavior.
We are, which is not conducive.
And not only a pattern of behavior, but a repeat offender.
Right.
Insofar as he made comments to the same person twice now.
Right. So, and then it progressed, and it then rolled over to this individual's sister that was affected by the being touched inappropriately, and then, then messaged later on inappropriately. Then he went on to message the same person's sister and did the exact same thing, and sending private messages that said, hey, if you need or want me, let me know. Now,
so the drunk be texting your friend. So the drunk be, so let me get this straight.
Yeah.
The drunk be touching your friend, you addressed it. The drunk be texting your friend, you addressed it. Now the drunk be texting your friend and texting your friend's sister.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry if this is hard to follow along. I'm just not really trying to put out their personal names or information.
Yeah,
so
that's my job in this scenario, is to make it kind of.
But this goes a little bit deeper. It goes really deep, farther than just the fact that he's doing this.
Pun intended.
Right. So for me, it's like we've addressed this now with his wife before, and this has been a pattern, and we feel like that nothing has been done. I got involved because it's personally affecting me, and it's caused what we would consider a ripple effect.
Yeah.
This has now branched itself off into other people that are surrounded, or been a part of this person's life for some time, because it affects all avenues. Your behavior, your actions now have put a lot of people in very awkward positions. Right. Okay. So,
and it's,
Go ahead.
Sorry, I feel like it's kind of an important detail to mention that the drunk is somebody who has been the recipient of many of your good intentions. You helped them out.
I helped them out.
You've helped them out
substantially,
in tough times, financially, physical manual labor. There's been a lot of help that you've given to this individual and your friend of 30 years, which is his wife.
Right.
Right. So.
Yeah,
I feel like that's an important detail.
It is a very important detail. I'm not one to say, well, I've done this for you and your family or you and your husband. That's not my place to do that. Because
no, that's, but it does play into it. Like if you were to help me out a lot, if you were to be, that, I don't want to say pivotal a role in my life. You've had that much effect over
or influence
my family and my family's well-being, and like there's certain boundaries that I'm never going to cross.
Right.
Like even if I was kind of a drunk, pervert, once in a while, I'm just not going to cross that line because I'm just not going to disrespect you that way.
Right.
But that's why I felt like that was important.
No, it is an important factor that should be mentioned, and to me, it was a big slap in the face.
Yeah. When
I brought this to her attention, the wife's attention, of what he's been doing, and the things that he's been saying to other women. I'm thinking to myself, honey, you were in bed, asleep, trusting your husband, and he is randomly messaging other women at all hours of the night, like all hours of the night.
No, it's not even random. It's like friends of yours,
Friends of mine.
mutual friends of yours and
Yes.
hers.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
Like
she doesn't seem to think that this is a problem,
Yeah,
because
it
she's
was-
like, well, let me handle it. This is my marriage, which I understand.
Yeah.
That's their marriage. But at some point, when you start dabbling into people that I know and it's affecting people around me, it becomes my business.
Yeah.
And I'm going to handle my business, whether you like it or not, because we've given you ample opportunities to handle your business and you chose not to.
Yeah, you ran cover for him 2 or 3 times now.
Right. So during the midst of all the chaotic and frustration and the anger towards me, somehow I became the bad guy in all this, which I just it blows my mind that I'm looking out for her because of what he's doing is not appropriate. I am trying to make her aware this is not healthy. This is not good. Yeah. What the fuck are you doing? And she sends me a message. Well, what do you suggest I do? Divorce him? Absolutely. I told her. I said, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, here's where all this kind of, for me, kind of.
Sorry, I'm just sitting there thinking. All I can think is, as your friend, and if you found out that my spouse was doing some shit behind my back, like right. I would be super pissed at you if I found out you knew and didn't say anything to me. Like,
yeah,
I would be like, bro, you let me sit there and stay in that situation. I could have got out of this years ago, but you didn't say anything. Mm-hmm. Like, I would be so pissed. Like, that would be enough to ruin our relationship.
But
in my opinion,
to me, it was a number of things. Like, if you know me well, as most do, I don't hold back, and I am going to say what's on my mind, and I am going to tell you what's going on.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah. So for me, it's just. I told her the truth, and she got upset because she was
refreshing about that. I don't mean to keep interrupting your story, but I mean, there's something refreshing about that. Like the fact that you will come to me, like when you had an issue with me, you came to me and said something to me. Like I was like, oh my God, yeah, it kind of hurt, but we handled it. We were adults about it. Mm-hmm. You know, we're stronger friends. I feel for it. Right. You know, we understand each other better because of it. Like there's nothing bad that can come out of that, really. I mean, if you think about, you know.
Well, it's really honestly constructive criticism at this point, and you know, but also in the sense of where I don't think she's quite understanding is that I am protecting her. I have known her for a very, very long time, close to 30 years, and for me, it's where does this stop? Like, where are you in your mind frame of getting upset with me when honestly you ought to be upset with your partner? You should be upset with your husband because of the things that he's doing when he's intoxicated. Now, I'm a firm believer that when two people get married, there's a certain boundary that you just don't cross. You don't try to interject yourself when certain things are going on, because it's just not your place. Yeah. There's that invisible do not cross this line. But then in some certain situations, like what I'm going through, I had to not only step over that line, but I had to run over it. You know what I'm saying? I had to really kind of put this, to a stop. My concern, and something I've expressed to others that are kind of dealing with the same situation, is if he's talking to 3 friends of mine inappropriately, who else is he talking to? Who else is he calling gorgeous and good morning beautiful? And and some of my friends came to me and said, well, that's just the way he is. That's the way he talks. That's fine. I call some of my female friends, hey, sweetheart, or I call them hun. It's just a Southern thing. I get that. The problem is, your audience, your friends. But this is happening to people who don't know his behavior. So it comes across very inappropriate. It just, and then it kind of keeps going to a point where, he sends a message to a friend of mine that says, if you need me or want me, let me know.
Yeah. What's that supposed to mean?
I mean, that if I send that to any female friend of mine, if I'm married or in a relationship, that's gonna be like, where's your wife at? What are you doing here? Why would I need you? You got a wife, you got a family. What's going on?
Yeah, need me for what? Like some handyman work or?
But this is a conversation that's happening at between 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Now, if I tell a woman, if you ever need me or want me at 4 a.m., that's a little.
Yeah. There's only
Come on, dude.
so much talking around that you can do.
Right. So this other person, the woman that he was reaching out to, she knows both of them. She's met both of them before, and she just was very polite, and she handled the situation very appropriately, in my opinion. I've read the screenshots. So moving forward, fast forwarding, yeah, that was gross. We'll cut that part out. But moving forward, she has now ended this close to 30-year friendship with me.
She who?
The woman that is involved.
The drunk's wife.
The drunk's wife, yeah. And I'm just like, you know what? I sent her a message back, and I said, you know what? Things are heated right now. Actually, I want to read it because I felt that it was important to for this individual to understand where I was at, how I felt, and I thought that it was only appropriate. I said, you mentioned that you've appreciated all that I've done for you. After letting my emotions settle down for a moment, regardless of what you think of me right now, it doesn't change the fact that if you ever needed me, I would always be there for you no matter what. Things might get heated in the moment, but it doesn't change the fact of who I am, and everything I've done will always been for you, for this person that I'm friends with. And it's not for the drunk person or anyone else. My loyalty lies with you. And to be honest, I would do it all over again if I had to. I'm not mad at you if you choose not to be friends with me. And in that relationship or friendship, well, I can't stop you, but I can be here for you if you decided to change your mind. Right. Please take care of yourself. I wish you understood the place all this was coming from. No response. No. So it's, as I've gotten older, I've understood that you have to assert yourself in such a way that people need to understand that you're not the one at fault here. It's your husband that's at fault. The center of all this started with him, not her.
His, dishonest behavior.
Right. This is embarrassing for a lot of people.
Yeah, inappropriate as well. I mean, because it's not just involving, you, and it's not involving just the drunk's wife. It's not just involving your friends and your friend's sister. It's involving, he's interjected in the community in such a way that, it's your friend and her sister's parents are involved. It's just like it's lots of people that are, and like you said, who else is he talking to? What other circles is he interjecting himself into in an inappropriate way?
Right. I also found out too that when the wife approached the husband, apparently he deleted all of his messages in his phone.
Oh, he knew some. Yeah,
he knew what he was doing.
Yeah, he knows.
Drunk or not, he knew that he was being inappropriate. He deleted any evidence of the women he was talking to.
And it's like, I wonder how many times guys will come to their girls and be like, "Oh, I didn't mean that. I was drunk. I didn't. Whatever." It's
a crutch.
It's like, no, wait a minute. Like, if you're out and you're drunk driving, you are held responsible, and you're actually charged extra for that. Right. Because of the fact that you were drunk.
Yep.
But somehow there's like this separate set of rules for a relationship where people are willing to kind of forgive the other person's actions based on their their level of inebriation. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that doesn't. No, come on, you can't have it both ways.
Right. I find myself in a situation where this person now has made the choice to end this friendship. Because I came to her and I was pretty ruthless. I mean, I'd never called her a name. I never disrespected her. I was very matter of fact of what had happened. Yeah. And, I even told her in one of the messages, use your head here.
Yeah.
Now, what this is going to look like from here on out, and a lot of people have told me, give her some space to kind of think about this and deal with it on her own. That's fine. Has it changed the dynamic of my friendship with this woman? Yes. It'll never be the same. But if she ever called me or needed me to help her with anything, I would be there in an instant. That doesn't change. I've been doing it for so long. That part of me still remains. The friendship side of it, I can't trust her. I cannot confide in her. I can't trust what she says or what she tells me. And the way she went about this, in my opinion, was all wrong.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I felt like she trusted her husband or given him the benefit of the doubt, or, because this has happened multiple times. She's been told multiple times this has been happening. And I understand that some people are scared. I understand that there's probably more to this story that's not being told, or that I'm made aware of. But if you're scared in your marriage, you shouldn't even be married to begin with.
So a few things that are coming to mind. First of all, I want to make sure to point out that this story isn't really so much about the drunk guy and his behavior, because anybody that's watching this can, with an objective, non-biased and from outside the whole fold here, they can see that, yeah, that's unacceptable behavior. You don't do that. You don't go texting your friends, girlfriends, and friends, and you don't, or whatever. You don't text women in general.
Right. I've got a lot of female friends, and to kind of give you an example, a friend of mine, Alice, she's in town for the next month.
Yeah.
She's originally from New York City, and her husband are living in for the next 2 years. They're living in 24 different cities over the next 2 years, and right now they're here in Nashville. Now, this is a perfect example of how you talk to somebody versus how you not talk to somebody. This individual, this drunk person, is messaging random women, saying, "Good morning, beautiful." Okay, that's fine. So I messaged my friend Alice, and I said, "Hey, good morning!" Exclamation point. Wanted to see if you guys wanted to make plans for lunch next Saturday. Mm-hmm. I didn't say "Good morning, beautiful," because it's not appropriate. She's married. I mean, it just there's an etiquette here that is not being met, and I feel like if that's just who he is.
Yeah, but like I was saying, that's not really the story that.
Well, no, but I'm giving examples. Yeah. I'm trying to explain that Alice doesn't know me well enough to know how I talk to her or my mannerisms.
I got you. Like if you guys were like farther into a relationship, or
right?
You guys were a little more comfortable with, like there's like my mother-in-law,
right?
Like I can make dirty jokes. We all know it's never going to lead anywhere. It's not a thing. I'm just I can say I could say things like that to her and probably be okay. It's like it's not. Right. We know each other's mannerisms. We know each other's behavior. We know each other's where we're at.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. There's like a certain etiquette, a modicum of behavior that you're supposed to kind of recognize.
Yeah.
That when you are inebriated, that kind of goes out the window.
Right out the door.
Obviously, with this.
So that was my point. Was I showed this text message that I sent to Alice to several people. I said, this is how you conduct yourself in such a way that's very respectful, and when you don't know, when you're not familiar with somebody's mannerisms or they're not familiar with yours, you have to understand that this is something you just simply do not do. Your goal is to be respectful towards your friends. Whether this is a person that's just a mutual friend or somebody that is just an acquaintance, so to speak. So for me, this was, I was just giving that, as an example. And then when people started to realize what I was getting at, they're like, okay, this makes sense. So the excuse of, well, that's just how this person is kind of washes away. Yeah. When I try to explain that to them, they're like, I get it. He was in the wrong. Now this turns into a situation where the focal point is now between me and this woman friend of mine who is the wife.
Yeah, the wife of the drunk.
Right, wife of the drunk. And the relationship that I've had with her for many, many years.
Yeah.
The dynamics.
For me, that's the weird one. That's the one that's not so cut and dry.
Right.
Yes, from your perspective, I totally understand, and I would be pissed too if she backed her husband on this over you.
Right.
Then again, I don't know if she's if there's a Christian thing going on here, where your husband and you are one when you marry. He is all and everything. Yes, he's obviously violating the vows, but at the same time, she's probably struggling with that. I'm just trying to kind of look at it from her perspective too. There's a number of things going on from her world and her situation that would make it kind of understandable that she would need to lean toward her husband's side on this, if that makes sense.
To me, I think that's just an excuse.
No, it's totally, all of it's an excuse, but we're rationalization machines. That's what we
do.
Yeah,
right.
Once she kind of picks a side, so to speak, everything she does is going to be, that way.
Right.
Okay, so one of the things I feel is really important for
Right.
this particular scenario that needs to be mentioned as to her motivations for why she might choose her husband over.
Maybe both motivations, because I think they're both kind of feeding off one another.
Right, but you're talking about a 30-year friendship, but you're also talking about, okay, so the situation is something like this. The drunk's wife is not the healthiest of individuals.
She has
She's got a situation that require, she needs assistance and help.
Yeah.
She does collect disability from the government
Right.
for that, and that's enough said about that. But what that means is that he is also a beneficiary of that.
I feel like when they
paycheck.
got married, he was getting on this free ride. I personally believe that.
Yeah, and from what you told me, he doesn't actually work.
No, he does like this side job, which in my opinion is a hobby that doesn't really generate like a steady income, or he doesn't have an insurance.
So he's dependent on her kind of for income.
Yeah.
She's kind of dependent on him for the caretaking.
Well, I mean, she's pretty mobile, and she's got a lot of people around her that if they did end up getting divorced, would rally around her and help her out. So I don't, maybe she doesn't realize that. Maybe she's worried. She's scared.
I think that just trying to play not.
I could be totally wrong about this.
Not devil's advocate per se, but trying to view it from her perspective, what might be going on through her head. Because, like I said, there's a Christian thing that might be going on. I don't know how religious they are from a marriage standpoint. That says that basically, once you get married, you stand by your husband 100%.
Well, to what degree though?
Yeah. To what degree? But basically, it's the idea that you stand by your husband, you stand by your spouse, fuck all everybody else. If anybody else has a problem with that, bye. I'm loyal to my husband, and that's it. I'm loyal to my wife, and that's it.
I'm not mad at her for any of this. I'm a little upset how things transpired. Yes, I'm not mad at her. I just wanted her to know the truth of what was going on.
Yeah, and you. Did
I wanted her to
thing.
be aware of what he's been doing is not appropriate.
Yeah, what you did was the right thing. But at the same time as you doing the right thing, unfortunately, that lays a burden in her lap now. Now she's got to make decisions. Now she's got to decide. Okay, where do my loyalties lie? Where the first thing that would come to my mind is if I do divorce my husband because of this, if I, where do I go? What do I do?
She's gonna be fine.
I think she would be.
I know she would be.
And I feel like there's a lot of people that do that they don't, they have a support network around them, but don't really believe that support network would be there in the same way.
I think what I did last year was pretty evident that I was there for her.
Yeah. No, I get it.
I mean, for Christ's sake, I was, contacted in the middle of a meeting at work. I left work, drove 6 hours.
No, I get
and
it.
My main focus was to get to her, to lay eyes on her, to make sure she was okay, to make sure that, okay, my friend is safe, she's okay. Let's start the rebuild process. Let's start picking up the pieces. Dude, had a GoFundMe going, putting things out on social media to help in any way I possibly could to get her the help that she needed, whether it was monetary things or just something in the moment.
Before you say too much, I'm just looking at this again from her perspective too. It's scary. It's very scary. I'm not trying to justify her treatment of you, because that was kind of bullshit. And I have one more point to make about that as well. But it's a scary thing. It's like, even I'm here in my situation. I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I've kind of got, it's the devil thing going on here. It's like I know this life. My routine is this. I know, and to disrupt that is fucking scary for people. It can be terrifying.
Well,
especially when you're in a position where you need people. You need people. Here's the thing. You mentioned you have yet to hear any apology from him.
Nothing.
And you haven't heard anything from her back after your response.
Mm.
Now, from what I understand, and in my experience, if people don't apologize within about a 48-hour period, really a 24-hour period, you're probably never going to hear the apology. It's never going to happen. In general, sometimes people might come around a week later and they might be a little slow on the uptake and realize that they did bad, they did wrong.
Maybe they got to handle their own shit to come to that sense. I don't know.
Right, but at some point, from your perspective, you're going to have to decide, okay, they haven't said anything to me, or the people, the drunk guy never said anything to the people around him.
No.
never apologized, never admitted to wrongdoing. Like at some point, you're going to have to go, okay, the message is abundantly clear. He's going to continue to do what he's going to do. There's nothing, and you need to separate yourself from them and create a boundary of like, sorry, I love you to death. I want to be there. This is a 30-year relationship. I will do anything for you. But at the same time, like if you're not going to admit that the way you treated me was kind of shitty, like I got to take that into account.
Yeah.
It's going to affect our relationship. And you said even minus her apology that may or may not come, it's already affected your relationship because you kind of got to see, oh, okay, so I'll be there for you no matter what. But when shit gets hard, you just shut me out like that. Like you just ignore me. I don't. Yeah.
I'm still trying to make sense of this because, she is obviously the one that made the choice to end the friendship. I did express that I would always be there for her. And it does change the dynamics. Would we ever be friends again? Yeah, to some degree. I would have a hard time being in the level I was before all this went down.
If this is all we're seeing of the relationship,
there's a lot more to their marriage.
Right. If this is all, like, I've only got a surface knowledge based on what you told me, so obviously. So if this is all I had to work with and this is all I knew, yeah, her behavior is kind of fucked up. I get it. Now, if she actually has like an abusive relationship thing going on, I've heard of a lot of women that'll stay in that abusive relationship. Again, it's the devil They're kind of afraid. They've been isolated by their husband. They're kind of been treated like garbage, and now they have this like I think the phrase is what's that phrase? Stockholm syndrome thing going on, where you kind of start to fall in love with your captor, so to speak. And you start to. And I don't know.
They tend to alienate you from all your friends by doing things like this.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you're now alone.
Yeah.
Like your friends are disappearing one by one because of somebody else's behavior. That's what they do. They get you in such a place to where then you have no friends to turn to.
Yeah.
You have to turn to that person. It creates such a toxic environment. That this, I believe, is one of the reasons why women are so terrified to leave because they feel like they have nowhere to go. They feel like they have no more friends now because of this person. The sad part is they don't realize it until after the fact.
It's too late.
And it's like, I'm trying to nip this in the bud before we get to this point.
Yeah.
And I told her in a text, I'm like, use your head here. Please, use your head. That's all I'm at. I was not disrespectful. I was very mad because of what this individual did, the drunk person.
Yeah.
Because I worried about what it would do to her.
Yeah.
What she doesn't seem to understand is this whole time she's mad at me. I care about how she's being treated.
Well, you were, in all fairness, the guy that came in and kind of wrecked her little her fantasy world. You shattered that glass, and now she's looking and going, "Well, dickhead, I was perfectly fine where I was at, and now you've made me have to face reality." And apparently she can't handle reality.
She even said, I talked to a few friends that had seen her the day that I had messaged her, and she was yelling at her phone for me to stop. And I did not stop. I was pretty ruthless. I mean, as far as the continuing messages, one after another, one after another, one after another. I was pretty, I did. I laid it on her pretty bad. And I know that. And after that.
Did she receive screenshots of these messages?
I sent them to her, yeah.
Okay, so it's not just your word. It's actual screenshots.
Yeah.
So she can't deny it.
Another individual offered to talk to said person that is the drunk person. She offered to have this conversation with him, and it never happened. So to me, it's you're deleting messages. You're not willing to apologize. You're guilty. At this point, you're guilty beyond guilty, meaning that you're probably doing other fucked up shit that we don't even know of.
Yeah, yeah. Because if you're doing this in the midst of a drunken stupor, I mean, you're going to take those text messages and be like, going reading back over them, going, "Oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Look, I am so sorry. Yeah, here's everything. Yes, I said some shit. I didn't mean none of that. I'll stop drinking," or whatever. Whatever the path is for you. He can still redeem himself, but the moment you start like deleting the evidence and acting guilty and hiding and obfuscating everything and like, dude, come on.
I told one individual this. I said if he was really if he really believed that he did nothing wrong, he would have called me. He would have chewed my ass out. Because if I'm being accused of something that I know I have not done and I'm innocent in this situation, I'm going to defend myself. I'm going to call you out and be like, what the fuck are you talking about? I haven't done shit. Not a phone call. Not a text.
Or like, bro, did you even see all the other messages that I sent where I was like, yes, she was needing some help with some kind of construction project. I'm like, yeah, I just need my help.
Nope.
We were talking and she deleted them her end, but here's the screenshots to prove my innocence. That could have been a perfectly reasonable explanation for a comment at Ford. I'm not saying there was a perfectly reasonable explanation, but I'm saying if he had the evidence and you were accusing him of some shit that wasn't true, and he had that backup, text log file to go, hey, here's the proof. This is what she was saying to me.
Right.
But there was none of that.
No.
Like he's guilty. I agree with you. He's not even the interesting part of the story for me. It's because he's like cut and dry, cheating, lying, asshole to his wife. It's the relationship between you and his wife that's interesting to me. That because there is that tough situation where you have the other incentives playing a part. You told her to use her head, and I mean, part of using your head involves the financial and situational, aspects of this that may play into that might unfortunately require her to let go of a 30-year relationship because she would rather have that, and that's fucked up. But it also plays part in the calculus of everything from her perspective. I would say,
right.
Not saying it's the right thing, but I'm saying it's definitely part of what must go into.
Well, in this video, because I think both of them are subscribed to our channel. This is not to bash either one of them. This is for me to publicly say something, so if they ever watch it or other people that are tied to the situation will hear where the position this has kind of put me into. And it needs to be said. I mean, how do you not know that I'm not going to go public with this? How do they not know? People who know me know I'm going to speak up and say something, and I have the platform to do it.
Yeah, you could have come here and been an asshole, revealed all, gave the screenshots. We make a big old promo about it. Anthony Trawick reveals all about such and such. You could have used names. We're trying really hard to make sure that we kind of protect,
the parties involved.
And the people they were there was a lot of people that got hurt in the situation that would have been perfectly fine with us calling them out by name.
Right.
But that's not the whole point of today.
No.
The whole point of today is you have it on your chest and you wanted to share. It's bothering you and it's eating at you and understandably.
Well, it's not really eating at me. It's just.
Well, I mean, you're not losing sleep over it, but obviously it's it's on your mind and it's it is bothering you.
It's just. My heart was in such a good and just loyal place when they went through what they did last year. Like, I rallied so many people around them.
And it feels like you're getting taken advantage of too. Or got taken advantage of.
No, I just feel like this is just one big giant slap in the fucking face. Yeah. If you think my intention was to hurt you, you obviously don't know me as well as I thought you did. My intention was never to hurt this person. Your husband is the one hurt everybody.
Yeah, quite the opposite.
And that's what I think a lot of this is getting lost in translation. It's like, I am not the person you should be mad at. I am not the person you should be upset with. You need to redirect your attention towards the individual who has caused this ripple effect beyond just the circle of friends.
Well, with the exception of the fact that you were the one responsible for shattering her reality.
But you know what?
Not saying it was.
I would rather be that friend that shatters the reality of your little happy life or whatever it looks like, than be that person or that friend that keeps it from you, never tells you.
People like you are few and far between, and it's a shock to the system.
People don't like me because I'm this way. I lose friends on the daily, or I wouldn't call them friends.
It's a shock to the system, though. I mean, think about this. In society, most people just kind of go along to get along. You don't want to ruffle any feathers. You don't want to. I don't want to get involved in that. Most people are just like, trying to maintain what they have, and it's like a Jenga tower of relationships.
Yeah.
And Anthony's like, oh, this thing's not actually being held up by anything. Smack.
Appreciate it, Daniel.
but you got, and I know you do it from a good place, but from somebody who's kind of gotten used to their current surroundings and would really rather not have it shattered. She's not stupid. I'm sure
That's why she doesn't come to me and tell me things anymore.
She seems like a really smart person. I have met her, and she seems like a really smart, very sweet individual that would much rather her life be kind of just left alone. Don't ruffle this.
Here I come walking by and just knock over that Jenga board.
Like, life is hard enough for me as it is. I really would rather you not, come in and shatter that for me. Like, in that moment, at least in that very moment, you are the enemy. You come off as the asshole. But upon further inspection, and if she was willing to listen to you, she would see that you're not that.
Right.
You played that part. She needs that shock to her system. She really does. But how she accepts that and processes that and moves forward with that it's going to tell a big story about her character, about her determination to overcome adversity.
Yeah.
She's already overcome a lot. She can overcome this.
I know.
I think she'll be okay one way or another, but she's going to have to be willing to decide at this point what kind of people she's going to be willing to surround herself with.
I just, I'm very unorthodox the way I go about life and the way I treat people and so forth. And it's one of the reasons why I don't have a lot of friends, because I have this level to me where I don't hold back. You know this. You've encountered this firsthand.
Yeah, you have a big heart and a blunt personality.
It's kind of outweighs the other, but yeah, it's
an odd combo.
Yeah.
Honestly. I mean, societally speaking, it's an odd combo.
Well,
I mean, for me, the kind of people I surround myself with, I prefer it. Like, it's like,
you're just weird.
Please, if I am overstepping, let me know. Let's address this. Like, please let me know. I want it. I want you to tell me.
Right.
But most society ain't like that.
No, and it's something I won't ever work on because I don't think it's a problem.
No, not
I think
at all.
it's a healthy. I need people in my life that are going to come to me and say, "Dude, you fucked up. You've done that before." So it's a person. If I am not holding myself accountable, I would expect my friends to bring something to my attention that I may not have necessarily brought or thought of, and be like, "Bro, did you think about this? I mean, come on, this seems kind of fucked up." You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I need that in my life. A lot of people don't want that in their life because they don't want to hear it. They don't want to be challenged in such a way that questions their moral responsibility to other people.
We're not gods. We're not all omniscient. We can't see all the angles. We can't think of all the possibilities. We don't. We have very limited perspective, tunnel vision most times. We don't see the bigger picture all the time. It's not like people make a practice of just stepping back and looking at the 30,000 foot view.
Right.
With that being said, those people that are there to hold you accountable are hugely necessary to help formulate a more healthy, well-rounded individual. And I think, honestly, the reason why we see such high divorce rates and such shitty relationships is because, A, the government's paying people through welfare to try to keep, you don't make good decisions when you have an easy paycheck that's paying for your shitty decisions.
Right.
That's one. But the second thing is we don't, in general, tailor and focus and surround ourselves with people who are going to be willing to call us out on our bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And who are willing to look at the relationships we're in and say, or like say I'm dating somebody, people tend to like date solo. Like they go out and find this person and like they're making all the decisions on their own. They don't lean on their social network, and they don't first build a social network that they can lean on.
Right.
So then they're left in the end after having the dick blinders on for so long, wondering, why, how the hell did I end up in this relationship?
Yeah.
I would be pissed if I'm going into a relationship and my friends aren't around me going, bro, she's crazy. Red flag number 1, number 2, number 3, number 2. We can see it, but you can't because you got a hard dick right now. There's that, it's the community thing that is missing.
And I feel like, because when people learn about this, they're like, you lost almost a 30-year friendship over this. And you're okay with that? No, I'm not okay with it. I learned to accept it. But this was not my choice. This was not my choice. And that's what people need to understand is I did not make this choice. The other person did.
Well, see,
and
you even have the respect enough to allow the other people in your life to make that decision.
Correct.
Like that's a huge thing. That's a big. It's not like you're trying to force your way in And you're not backtracking.
No.
Going, hey, listen, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
I'm never going to apologize for who I am.
Not apologize for who you are, but what you did. You're not doing that. Like, somebody who's desperate to keep their friends around or keep certain people in their lives are like backtracking and then not even saying anything to begin with.
Right. So for me, it's I've laid this to rest. The last message I sent to her was very truthful. I mean, it was from the heart. It was, I'm sorry this ended the way that it did, but that was your choice. That was your doing. Because I feel like if I'm giving you personal accountability for your actions. Mm-hmm. This is on you. This is not on me. I'm not one to dismantle a 30-year relationship with anybody. If that's something you choose to do, then that's what you have to lay down at night, and that's what you have to process day in and day out. But I have a personal responsibility to continue this friendship, whether she wants it or not. And if she needs me, like I said, I'm going to be there. I don't give up on people. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Now, people can come back and say, well, you gave up on the husband. No, I haven't.
You're way more patient with these things than I am. I'm willing to cut a motherfucker out like that if they.
I'm the same way. However,
you tend to give a little more benefit of the doubt than I do.
Well, maybe I extend a little bit more grace, I guess. I don't know, but all I know is, people were kind of shocked to hear me say this, but it's true. If the husband decided to apologize, to actually make amends for what he's done
and change his future behavior
and get some help and changes his behavior, I would actually support him. I would encourage him. I will do whatever's necessary, because at the end of the day, I was in their wedding. I was one of the best men. And part of my speech was that I ever felt like if they ever diverted away from each other, that I would kind of steer them back on that right direction to go back towards their marriage, if it's possible. Yeah, if it's possible. I have to live up to what I've said in my speech in front of a lot of people, because I meant what I said. So now the accountability and the responsibility of the husband, it rests on his shoulders. Whether he wants to get the help or not, whether he wants to stop the behavior is completely up to him. If he does, I have no problem helping. I have no problem being that support system. Will it still have changed things? Yes. I will approach things a little bit more with caution, and will certain individuals be around? No. I will not introduce this person back into my life when it comes to my daughter, when it comes to people that are close to me.
Right.
No, that's going to take a long time for me to accept that.
They've now gone from your inner circle to the slightly outer circle.
The outer realm of it, yes. I mean,
at the moment, they're probably way out here at the moment. But
yeah, so you have to repair what has happened between you and I.
Yeah.
And that's going to take a long time. But if you're willing to get the help, if you're willing to admit what you've done is wrong and apologize to all the people involved, right, I will then support you. Yeah. I'm not going to give up, but if you're making the choice to give up and just write this off like it's no big deal, I'm done with you.
Now, there is one small thing that I do want to hit on. Probably the last major point that I think is kind of getting missed in all this. And I don't know correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe this is why it's bothering you a little bit, is the fact that a couple things come to mind. There had to have been a reason why you didn't tell her straight up right off the beginning. And I get a sense that you were just trying to kind of just handle it, not try to ruffle the feathers. Was there a part of you that kind of knew how she would behave?
No. Well, to some degree, yes, right? But not entirely. But to me, my reasons for not going to her about it the first time is because they were recently newlyweds. Yeah. And I did not want their marriage to start off on a rocky situation, which could have been just a one-off situation that happened. Yeah. If this was a continuous behavior up to that point, I then would have said something, but it hadn't been. This was the first time I encountered what had happened. And I told the drunk individual that if you do it again, right, things are gonna be bad. So
that brings me to my next question. Sorry, I'll let you finish.
No. I was just gonna say, it wasn't so much her reaction to it. It was just, we assumed this was a one-off situation.
Right.
It happened. It was embarrassing. It was a mistake. We addressed it. We moved on from it. Yeah. It's not that we didn't want to tell her. We just felt like if it was a situation that happened that was a one-off, there's no reasons to make this a big deal.
Yeah, like it wasn't as big a deal as...
Right.
Yeah, I understand. So that does make sense. Now, I guess what I'm curious is after you told her, did you expect that she would behave this way? Did you expect that reaction? Mm-hmm. So that, to me, might be what's bothering you about this.
Everybody else agrees that what I'm saying, and they've told her what he's done is kind of fucked up. She's not mad at everybody else. She's mad at me.
Yeah. I guess what I'm wondering is maybe that might be what's bothering you insofar as the fact that you didn't see that coming. You've known this person for 30 years. Mm-hmm. And you would think after 30 years you'd be pretty much able to predict everything they would say or do, or for the most part.
Well, I mean,
something major like this,
you have to take into I didn't mean to cut you off, but you have to take into consideration she's married.
Yeah,
there's this divine line that you want to respect the sanctity of their marriage,
right?
But also the value of the friendship that you have with the said individual that you've known for 30-something years. So it's a tight rope that you're having to walk, of leaning one way towards this way or the other, but not necessarily overstepping your boundary as so far of saying, okay, well, I shouldn't have done that. I would have apologized if I felt like I did. Well, I'm not apologizing because this was wrong, and it's just I've respected their marriage all the way up until this point, to where it's now affected so many people.
Yeah, I get that. That's
right.
We've discussed all that. What I'm wanting to really center in on is to put it in a metaphorical sense.
Okay.
Imagine you're driving down this road, this curvy ass road. It's a back road. You've known it your whole life. 30 years you've been driving down this road, and then all of a sudden, one day, you change that dynamic in the relationship, so to speak.
Right.
And suddenly you're driving along, and next thing you know, there's a giant hole, and you're just down in it, and you're like you're almost blindsided by this. Wait, I didn't expect this. This turn always goes this way. I kind of knew this road, and now I feel like there's part of you that feels like you don't actually know the person, like you were blindsided by. Am I articulating that?
No, you are, and I understand where you're coming from. I think sometimes when we're in a marriage, we feel responsible to protect our spouses.
Yeah.
We feel sometimes responsible to say, hey, this is my business, not yours, which in a sense it is. I get that, but maybe there's a deeper issue as to why she lashed out the way she did towards me that I'm not aware of.
Yeah, that's...
Because the character that I'm seeing is not of her. This is not what I'm used to.
Yeah. That might be the point that's actually bothering you.
Yeah, I think there's more deep-seated issues that are not being addressed, or I'm not made aware of.
It's either that, or you just don't know her as well as you think you do, and that could be a problem. That you have made Well, here's what would bother me is either A, there's something deeper going on she's not telling me about.
I think there is.
She might be actually in danger and need help.
Yeah.
That's one possibility. It's a scary possibility, but it is possible. The second possibility is, okay, well, maybe I don't know this person as well as I think I do. What's wrong with me that I wasn't able to judge her character like I thought? What's wrong with my ability to judge people's character in that I didn't see that reaction coming?
Right.
So I feel like I don't know if there's any other possibility, but those are the two that come to mind right offhand. That would bother me too. That would be kind of a sticking point that I would feel like I need to kind of figure out.
Well, obviously, I'm probably never going to know what's going on.
Yeah, in order for me to move on from that thing, I need to kind of figure out, okay, which one is it? Is it something else I didn't even think of? Is it?
I think also a lot of it too.
I see this coming?
I think a lot of it too is embarrassment. I think she's embarrassed.
Yeah.
I think the more people were finding out, the more embarrassed she is. I know she is. And if it was just an isolated situation where maybe two people knew about it, you're not so embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? Now there's a lot of people involved.
Now you're going, everybody in my social circle is aware.
And people tend to forget how big my social circle is. When you realize how big that circle is, you're like, oh fuck. Because there were certain things that happened last year that other people got involved. Yeah. If you remember the fundraising that was done for them. If they found out that's what I'm saying. This ripple effect it goes much further than people realize, because I know a lot of people. I have a lot of connections. I have, just been over the years of doing all the charity work that I've done and you know, a little bit of time in the entertainment business and music industry, and people that have come to me and said, hey, you know, who can we help? We trust you.
Yeah.
We trust you, Anthony. Give us somebody that we can help out.
So here's another thing.
What?
Sorry, I totally just cut you off.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I just that's what I was trying to explain, is that when you're a part of my life, that circle then becomes a lot bigger than what it used to look like for you.
Yeah.
Because there's people willing to help. There's people that have a kind heart. And it's just not me you've taken advantage of. It's not just me that you slapped in the face. It's everybody that's tied to me. You know, because if honestly, if word got out about what happened, like really got out, this is going to be bad. And I don't want that for her. But you can't expect people to sit back and idle. These individuals came to me because they trust me, and they trust that I would take care of the situation, which I've done. Mm-hmm. And they know that I'm going to speak up and speak on their behalf. Did they not know that I was just going to sit back and not say anything? You know, I mean,
that's actually leads me perfectly to my next point, is about you now, I feel like, have a responsibility to kind of protect the other people in that circle who may not be aware of the situation, that who, you know, say, okay, if it was me, you introduced me to these people,
right?
I may have befriended them,
right?
And, you know, beyond just when I run into them at your social gatherings, I may have befriended them,
right?
And now, if I continue that relationship, and you know this information, and you're not letting me know, like, oh, these people are not really to be trusted. Here's why.
Right. And
then I find out that you knew, like, that's going to affect. It's the same thing what we were talking about earlier. If my spouse was doing some shit, I would hope you would tell me. You know, and at some point you have to, like, make that transition from, okay, I see that the drunken man and his wife are not going to make amends. They're not going to apologize. So now that forces your hand to address it with.
I am the one having to put out the fires. I'm the one having to clean up the mess because he's not taking personal accountability for what he's done.
Right.
And now I'm having to contact people, which I did not want to do to begin with, because of their ties to the said individual.
That would piss me off.
And
big time.
I don't want to be this person, but they forced me to become this person, which I don't want to do because, you know, you need to step up. You need to take personal accountability for what you did and the people that it affected. Because if other people that found out that have a bigger social connection than I do, that have a bigger following than I do as far as in the entertainment business, because there are said individuals that own a nonprofit.
No need to keep giving details, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, the ripple effects of everything.
Come on.
Yeah.
This is the position you've now put me in.
Step up and be a man.
All this goes away if they apologize, get the help they need. It's over and done with.
Yep.
I don't care what happens to them per se as far as my friendship goes with them, but at least apologize to the individuals that need to be apologized to, move on from the situation.
Yeah, that could potentially be a toxic leak that could get out to the rest of it, and then what's the word I'm looking for?
I'm trying to divert it from becoming that.
Yeah, it could, you know, if that is left unaddressed, it could end up being something that will risk your other relationships.
Yeah, because you've now put me in a position where if I don't say something and then it happens and they knew that I already knew about it, that directly involves me with my other friends. And I'm not going to let that happen because I'm not that kind of individual that's going to keep shit from you or anybody else. Mm-hmm. You need to be made aware of it. When I brought this to her attention, she was pissed. She was like, well, I don't go around talking about your business. I'm like, whoa, wait a second. First of all, I'm on a public platform. Anything that anybody's ever want to know about me is out for public knowledge. I don't have skeletons in my closet. I don't, you know, because it's if you do a program like ours, you can't have those skeletons, because if you do, it's going to haunt you one of these days and bite you in the ass. You know, I mean, that's the reality of it.
It's really difficult to get up here on these videos and talk about all these principled stances and things like that, and then have people find out, oh, he actually doesn't even believe in his own principles.
Right.
Like, you can't do that. Like, you have to live by your principles that you stated.
It keeps us honest.
So that's why, I mean, that's I feel like the reason why you felt like this needed to be a topic of discussion, because I mean, you're not the only one suffering with this issue. Like, that's just it. I know there's got to be other people in our audience that are dealing with, you know, I'm holding on to some information about some acquaintances or friends of mine that I don't know what to do with. Well, I'm here. I think you and I are both here to tell people, like, hey, you got to be upfront and honest about this stuff. You got to allow other people the ability to make decisions on their own.
Right.
You know, there's so much of this going on in society where we're like, we don't want to ruffle the feathers. We don't want to address issues that we might have because we don't. Quite frankly, because we're kind of scared of what the other person is going to say or do. We don't want to introduce that chaos into our worlds.
Right.
But it's unfair in a actual real-time relationship to not allow that other person the ability to feel and experience and act as they will, you know.
Right.
I don't know. It's just one of those things, like when you sit there and you don't say a certain thing around people.
Right.
Oh, I don't know.
To me, it's I'm trying to put a stop to the bleeding.
Yeah.
Because the more they sit back and not do anything and apologies are not made, the more I feel compelled, only because I've been placed in a very difficult situation, to have to forewarn others of his behavior. That's what she's not understanding. It's not that I want to go public, because I haven't. Nothing is on social media.
Yeah.
Nothing is.
Yeah, you're not one of those drama queens that get on Facebook and say,
no.
I've seen that too many times.
I could have done that and really kind of fucked up a lot of shit, but that's not who I am. It's not the way I'm going to go about it.
How many times have you seen that post? Bitch, I know you're reading this, and if you ever do this and this in my life again, I swear. Like, you didn't do that dumb shit. That's some childish, immature stuff. What did you do? You went to her directly.
Right.
In a private message to her, nobody else, and you said, hey, I'm aware of what's going on because all these other people are reporting to me the shit that your husband's doing, and it's put me in a funny spot. I feel like you should know. As your friend, I feel like I owe you this.
Yeah.
You know, or risk our friendship if I don't tell you.
I think I was screwed either way, but what it boils down to now, kind of where I'm at right now, is like I said earlier, I'm now in a position where I have to, over time, people that are tied to them, I have to say something. Because if it ever comes out that I already knew and I didn't say anything, and I put other women in this position, they're going to be upset. Their husbands are going to be upset. And I don't do the drama, dude. I'm sorry. So I have to now take care of this, because it's not properly being taken care of by him. He's not apologizing. He's not changing his ways and all this other stuff. Now, what I will tell you is this, that we'll wrap up on this note, but I'm not going to contact either one of them. That ball is left in their court.
Yeah.
And
like, the most communication they're going to get is potentially seeing this video.
That's it.
Okay.
So if they happen to watch this, I will not contact them until there's apology that's met to several people that are involved, until an apology is made to me, for one, because I didn't do anything in this whole situation. This is not my fault. Right. You know, and actions speak louder than words. You know, if he's willing to change his life and get his life back on track, then I will be there for both of them. If you don't give a shit, why should I?
That's true.
If you're not willing to change your ways and change your behaviors, you know what? I hope that she wisens up. I hope she's handling her business. I don't know what's going on. I'm distancing myself from the both of them, and I hope and pray that she handles whatever she's got going on, because she doesn't need it. Given her situation, she does not need this toxic environment. She's already got enough to worry about.
And I might add, if it is the case that she is in fact in a situation where she's in danger, please let you know.
I've always hoped that she would reach out to me if anything bad was happening, because she knows I would be there, or call the cops, or make the situation go away.
Yeah, whatever threats he might be making to get her to shut up and not say anything and take his side, or that could, like I said, this could be the situation. But if that's the case, I mean, I want to give her the benefit of the doubt too. Insofar as that could be a potential explanation for what's going on. Not saying it is, but it could be. But in either case, she needs to reach out to you and say something.
I know.
Either it's an apology or it's an explanation. Right?
Yeah, no, I agree. If she chooses not to, then hey, I'll have to let this one lie to rest.
You can't help somebody that's not
willing to help themselves, or
right.
So, to me, it's wait and see. It's it hurts my heart because the dynamics of what I'm willing to do for my friends, the loyalty that lies with them, the personal responsibility I have to my friends to make sure that they're always okay. And I've never wavered or faltered from that ever. And, it sucks. I ain't gonna lie. That's a lot of years of being friends with somebody to just one day it's gone. Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and play a hard ass and say, well, this doesn't bother me, because it does.
No, I'm
so
incredibly sorry for your loss. That's
hell
of a hit to take.
And again, this is a part of me being who I am.
30 years is nothing to shake a stick at.
No, a lot of people don't have friends for 30
time.
years.
Yeah.
I've got multiple friends that I can count on probably both hands that I've known for probably 20, 25 years. Mm-hmm. That's rare. And I'm very proud of those friendships because I've established a lot of loyalty, a lot of trust, and a lot of devotion towards those set individuals.
It's a lot of work.
And even with you, even though it's been 5 years, I think you've seen a bit of that, even just in the small time frame that you've known me. And I understand because of my personality, it disrupts. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of people can handle it. A lot of people don't. A lot of people say that it's hard for me to see such a big heart in you because you're such a hard ass and you're a dick sometimes. Well, society is not nice.
It's possible to be both.
Yeah, society is not nice. I know this. It's ruthless.
And
sometimes you have to be ruthless just as much, and you have to be just as much as an asshole. Yeah. But deep down, I've got the biggest heart. I'm a big old teddy bear. I will do anything for you.
I learned how much of a teddy bear you were when you were volunteering to be Little Spoon one time.
Well, that's another episode for another day.
Another channel.
All
right. Is there anything else you want to grab?
No, I hope whoever watches this that, you kind of learn something from what I went through, and just be good to each other. Just be honest with each other. Yep. You have to be honest with each other. So that's pretty much it.
And listen, if any of you are watching this and you want to come on the show and talk through some potential issues that you're currently struggling with and you don't know what to do, hey, we'd love to have those conversations too. I mean, those are, in my opinion, the most uncomfortable conversations are the ones where it involves personal relationships. Right. Those close to you, inner circle, friends, family, brothers, sisters, wives, whatever, what have you. Those are the hard conversations to have. Politics, social issues, those are fun, but really, what's the risk in those conversations? You actually have to make decisions. And you actually have impact on your personal relationships.
There's value in those that are around us, So.
Yeah, so definitely, if you want to come on and discuss those, we can do it anonymously. If you just want to do it audio only, right, or whatever it is, so you don't give away, personal details or anything like that. Absolutely, we would love to help kind of walk each other through what you're struggling with and maybe some potential solutions, or maybe offer some perspectives you hadn't considered. So, right. Yeah, with that being said, this has been another episode of the Unframe of Mind Show, where we have uncomfortable conversations without a condom. I've been your host, Danny Wagner.
Hey, Anthony Trilick.
And we will see you next time.
See ya.